Hello, this is Deborah Maness with the Maness Minute for week 4. This week, the grammar lesson is to distinguish fragments from sentences. So you will look at the lesson on fragments. There is a lecture provided. There's practices with the answers, and then complete the fragment quiz. So that's the grammar lesson for this week. You'll find the grammar quiz at the bottom, and there's videos to watch along with the lecture. Then you're going to begin drafting your paper for summary and response. So in order to do that, you need to look at the articles to read for paper 1. And I've provided a list here. The choices are How to Mark a Book by Mortimer Adler, Learning to Read and Write by Frederick Douglass, Free Writing by Peter Elbow, A Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr., The College Dropout Bloom by David Leonard, and I think that might be Boom. That might be a typo on my part. And The Maker's Eye, Revising Your Own Manuscripts by Donald Murray. So you will choose one of these articles to read and summarize. When you are summarizing, I recommend that you read the article once just for comment, and then you read it a second time and write what each paragraph means to you in a few sentences, and go through the article or the essay that you choose, and as you read each paragraph, summarize it in a sentence or two. When you finish the entire article, look at the sentences of each paragraph and then blend those so that they flow better. If you just put those sentences together, it may need some transition words and maybe some sentences to connect the ideas within that. You may find that your summary needs to be more than one paragraph, and that's okay. It needs to be at least one paragraph. I have provided some lecture notes and resources on summarizing if that's not a skill that you've done before. Now, the first part of the paper is going to be an introduction. The second part of the paper is going to be the summary. The third part of the paper will be the response. You can choose whether you want the response to be your conclusion or to add a separate concluding paragraph. The paper needs to be at least 2 pages long, so I would suggest you go to a third page using Times New Roman 12-point font, and that you include more than 3 paragraphs if you need to add more length. If you have trouble writing, I've provided a few helpful tips. There's some lecture notes on doing the introduction with a video there that you'll see in this folder. There's also, all of these are on introductions. There's the review on the thesis statement that we looked at earlier. So I'm trying to give you resources to help you. There's also some lecture notes on writing conclusions if you're not sure how to do that. I think the summary will be easier because you're just restating what's been written before in your own words. The response might be a little bit more challenging. That's when you're kind of evaluating the article and stating what's important in the article, why this article is meaningful. You want to be careful not to use any pronouns. I don't want to see any I thinks, our ideas are good. You want to remove all those pronouns. It's okay to use a he, a she, them, they, but I don't want to see any I, me, us, we, our, mine, you, or your. We don't want any of those pronouns in academic writing. You can see there's some lecture notes here on editing and revising. You'll use that more next week after you've looked at your peer review and my comments. So the 2 big objectives for this week are to review fragments, make sure we don't have any of those in the paper, and to draft the first copy of paper 1. Once you've drafted the paper, Paper 1 peer review blog submission is where you will post that paper. And I will correct this broken link. I apologize for that. But you will look in the peer review blog submission, and that's where you will submit your peer review. I'll add another video for peer review once I get that corrected. I want to remind you that there's a Word document at the bottom of week 4 that shows common errors in English 111 papers. When you finish your paper and you've looked over it, you might want to look at those common errors and make sure that you've looked and corrected if you have any of those in your paper. I hope you have a good week 4, and I really look forward to looking at this paper 1.